All right, hello. This is Jill Palermo. I'm the managing editor of the Prince William Times, Gainesville Times, and Fauquier Times, and we're here today with a special guest. This is Delegate Danica Roem. She is a Democratic delegate for the 13th District, which is primarily in Prince William County and Manassas Park, correct?
Yes.
And she
correct.
dropped in today because, well, number one, this is where she used to work before she became an elected official.
Yep.
So Danica was reporter here for the Gainesville Times and Prince William Times from when to when? Tell us.
So my first day on the job was June 12th, 2006, and I worked until August 26th, 2015.
Wow.
So I authored more than 2,500 news stories about the greater Prince William County area, some Fauquier, Culpeper here and there too, back when we had all those, and even did stories for Fairfax Times, Loudoun Times Mirror. So, yeah, this was my life, and I gave just about a third of my life to reporting the news here, and I loved it, and I miss it every single day.
All right. Well, I mean, it's really exciting for us to have you, because of that connection, and we've
It's really
heard
good
you.
that you have my job.
We've heard you talk about that on the campaign trail and while you're in
Yeah.
office about how much you learned, being a community journalist and how that really gave you a solid
Absolutely.
knowledge of the issues. So we know you don't have much time because you're off to another appointment.
My last front page above the full story, though,
Yes.
was Route 28.
Was Route 28. So
Yep.
we're going to talk about Route 28, which was Danica's signature issue this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just going to give everybody a little update of what's going on with Route 28. So you want to
Sure. So the first thing to know about 28 is that last month in June, so I guess, well, if this comes out Friday, so whatever, in June, the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority approved $124 million of new money for Route 28 improvements.
Which is huge.
So right now, underway at this moment, is the 28 I-66 interchange project over in Centerville. That's going to replace those traffic lights between 66 up in Tuolumne with a big diamond interchange along with kind of like a flyover over at Braddock. And that is going to be under construction for a few years. And at the same time, those of us who have lived in Prince William County long enough, or just in Northern Virginia long enough in general, probably remember when VDOT took out all of the traffic lights between Route 7 in the north down to Route 50 in the south along the 28 corridor. This allows them to continue doing that, so we have that more flow and go, which is going to be great for a lot of people from Gainesville, for example, because if you're in Gainesville and you take 66 eastbound in the morning, a lot of those people will either take Route 28 up to their jobs in Reston or Sterling or Dallas, wherever, and they'll get stuck along the ramp because of the traffic lights once you get to the top.
Gotcha.
And that will then pour out onto 66. And so then if you're in that right lane and you're driving and you have to jut out of there so that you don't get stuck in that backup, well, as soon as you hit that left, that causes a brake light effect, domino effect behind you there. And so that interchange has been really bad for traffic for a long time, even including from people from Western Prince William. But this also affects people from Manassas Parkside that also represent the town of Haymarket, Gainesville, Prince William County portion of Manassas, and City of Manassas Park. And so that work zone right now, that's underway, which is great, but this new money is going to allow Fairfax County to widen Route 28 from 4 lanes, which is 2 lanes north and 2 lanes south, from the Prince William line, right where Yorkshire hits Centerville, all the way up to Route 29, so that it'll be 6 lanes in the south side, so 3 up, 3 down, and then once you get to New Braddock, you're going to have it widen out to 8 lanes. And the thing is over there is there's still a $44.7 million unfunded interchange plan at New Braddock. We don't know what is going to happen with that long term, because now that you're going to have that road widening, you're going to push back the ingress egress of New Braddock, which means that if you were to turn that into an interchange, you're going to have a sound problem for a lot of the residents who live in some of the townhouses and the other homes that are in that immediate area, and that could also subject them to eminent domain. So obviously you want to always make sure that you're taking care of the residents and you take up as least of their property as possible while at the same time trying to improve traffic. So that's on the way. Construction should wrap up between 2023 and 2025 for that widening of 28 in Centerville, depending on the bid process and just all together like minutia stuff. If you like transparency and that's really your thing, it'll be 2025. If you want to just kind of fast track it, it'll be 2023. So maybe we can find a blend of both there, right?
Okay.
And
but we also have Godwin Drive extended.
Godwin
right?
Drive extended. So
that's a proposal.
We've got $2 million for a environmental study of some sort. environmental assessment can be done quicker, environmental impact study will take longer. And what this will basically do, extending Godwin Drive, it would go along that flat branch area, curve around right where Boundary Lane over in Yorkshire is, and it'll come out somewhere near 28. Well, the final routing of that is not finished yet. And I'm hosting 3 upcoming transportation town hall meetings.
Wow.
One of them is going to be in Yorkshire on a date to be determined, and we are going to specifically talk about this issue there. I've been a part of 9 town hall meetings so far this year.
Wow.
And I've talked about Route 28 at 8 out of those 9. Where the one exception was the Veterans Town Hall, and even there I talked about transportation. So, you know, what happens with this, I am very concerned about eminent domain that we will have to use kind of closer to where Allegheny Road is, kind of closer to Amherst, around that curve up to Boundary Lane, because 70 properties could be impacted by this, which obviously we want to minimize that as much as possible while recognizing the need for having more capacity for 28 commuters, right? So what I've asked the Prince William Department of Transportation to do, that they've agreed to do, is to also, part of their study, instead of just studying 2 lanes up, 2 lanes down, 4-lane road, is to have it as a 3-lane road with that middle lane being reversed. Now, a 2007 Parsons Brinkerhoff study clearly stated that it would be unsafe under any circumstance to put a reversible lane on Route 28 itself.
Right.
But in Godwin Drive Extended, where it's more of a grassy area right now, and you don't have all of those left turns that you have on 28, that is going to make that a lot more feasible, potentially anyway. And not to mention that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are going to want them to limit the size and scope of this project anyway, because it is in a floodplain. Not as bad of a floodplain as Lake Drive is, but it's still there. The last part for 28, part number 4, is my bill that I put in this year, resolution HJ 68. HJ 68 was for alternative intersection designs along Route 28 corridor to allow VDOT to study those. And it died on a party line vote, but at the same time, I had my constituents came down and testify for it, which was great. And at the same time, we're now working with VDOT to implement an administrative solution to that, to just basically have VDOT do that within their existing budget anyway. The secretary, VDOT secretary, Shannon Valentine, Deputy Secretary Nick Donahue, the Prince William rep to VDOT, Dick Burke, all of them have told me that they can get it done. So, I'm really eager and excited to work with them to see what we can get done. So we have, whether it's traffic circles or flyover in the southbound left-hand turn lanes at Orchard Bridge Drive, or whatever we can do to replace those traffic lights and have flow and go, that's what I'm for.
All right, so this was Danica's signature issue. There's been a lot of progress so far. We're going to see a lot of construction on 28 from probably now till beyond 2025. So we'll try to keep you updated as we go. But Danica, we just so appreciate you coming in. And we'd like to hear about your agenda for next year, but we're running out of time. So
I'll be super quick with that.
You want to be quick?
Yeah,
All
we've
right.
got town halls that are coming up where we'll be talking about some of our legislative items.
Right.
I'll be, again, continuing to push for my SHIELD law to protect reporters from being jailed for protecting a confidential source. You are the last line of defense in this democracy, or this representative democracy within the republic, and you should not be jailed for doing your job. And one of my former bosses was once over at the Montgomery County Sentinel. So that transportation, government accountability, and constituent service, issues, especially related to health insurance, we're going to be really focusing on that.
All right. Well, I'm sure there will be a lot to report on in the coming months. Thanks again for coming by.
Thank you so kindly.
Delegate Danica Roem.
Reporter Jill Palermo.